Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of the Navs Effect podcast. I'm your host, Avi Kanglani. So this is a great episode. We got to speak to Coach Sean Chambers about what he plans to do with the FEU men's basketball team program. He was just named the head coach of FEU, and it's exciting. I think a lot of FEU fans are really going to enjoy this podcast. If you're a UAAP fan, you're going to enjoy this podcast too. Coach Sean really gives a lot of details about what he plans to do. I asked him stuff like, okay, what's your game plan going to be in offense and defense? How exactly are you going to implement it? Which recruits are you going to try to bring in? Who's going to be part of the coaching staff? So he gives some detail. Some questions he answered directly, some not quite concrete yet, but he does give some context. And I also asked him about whether or not maybe he plans to bring Fred Uiteng Su, former Alaska Aces owner, in the PBA. I mean, as a PBA team before. Would Fred help FEU? Because that would be a big factor, right? Also, will Coach Tim Cohn be at the games supporting his former player as he now becomes a head coach himself? A lot of exciting things. Before we get to the episode, I just want to share a little bit about some of the work I've been doing recently. So, maybe you don't know this if you don't follow my social media, but I am now at All Star Magazine, a new publication in the Philippines, as a senior editor. We have some articles now populating the website a little bit. We've got some big plans still coming, still in the works. I'm excited to let that unfurl naturally as everything plays out. My recent articles have included a feature in Jacob Cortez, feature in Zayn Mahmoud, and just today, as I'm recording this Tuesday, I got to release a short article, a short interview I did with Jared Bahay. So I think Ateneo fans would enjoy that. Give that a read. And I still got more content planned coming on that website, including some video stuff we're going to work on for the future. We're building stuff. It's not happening super duper fast, but we're building. We're taking our time, making sure things are done right. And I'm excited to work with a team that seems really passionate and spirited about building something special. That's what we want to do. Also, some news. Francis Escandor of the DLSU Green Archers, a champion. He was great in Game 2 of the Season 86 finals against UP. He just signed with Manila in the MPBL. He will be playing for the Stars, which is supported to some degree by the strong group. Of course, Francis connected to the strong group right now, given that he played for them in Dubai. So it's going to be great to see Francis back in action. He plans to make it to the PBA draft. I also have a feature I'm working on based on an interview with him. Cannot wait to get to that. A lot happening right now. There's the MBTC games, some meetings behind the scenes, some commitment stuff, recruitment stuff, a lot of movement, a lot of developments. Currently just waiting to explode. We'll see as the MBTC goes on when it ends what happens, but stay tuned, definitely. All right, first a quick word from our sponsor, Fitspire, and then to the interview with Coach Sean Chambers.
Are you ready to transform your home into a premium fitness haven? Look no further than Fitspire, your go-to destination for top-notch home gym equipment designed to take your fitness to unprecedented heights. Immerse yourself in a world of possibilities with their versatile range of premium gear, including yoga equipment for serene workouts, adjustable dumbbells and kettlebells for customized strength training, roller wheels and push-up bars to sculpt those abs and arms, jump ropes, foam rollers, and stability balls for an all-rounded workout experience, stylish and efficient cooling towels to keep you refreshed, and sport water bottles for staying hydrated in style. Fitspire's equipment is not only durable but also space-saving, allowing you to create your dream workout space without sacrificing aesthetics or functionality. Whether you're a fitness novice or a seasoned pro, their collection caters to all levels. And here's the real game changer. As a special treat for our podcast listeners, we're offering an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Simply use the code word NAVSEFFECT10 upon checkout at www.sunbeamslifestyle.com. It's our way of saying thank you for choosing Fitspire. But that's not all. For an even more seamless experience, download the Sunbeams Lifestyle app, available on both iOS and Android platforms. Browse their collection, stay updated on fitness trends and exclusive deals. Transform your fitness routine from ordinary to extraordinary with Fitspire. Don't just dream about your fitness goals, achieve them in the comfort of your own home. Visit www.sunbeamslifestyle.com, use code NAVSEFFECT10, and let Fitspire be your fitness companion on this incredible journey.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Navs Effect Podcast. I'm your host, Naveen Ganglani, and we are now joined by new FEU Tamaraws men's basketball head coach Sean Chambers. I know it's quite early there in California, Coach Sean, but thank you so much for joining me today. I like the look. Very I know you're
Yeah,
working
I
in
think
the
I got my
school.
green on right now. So I got the FEU colors. I just got to have the gold on. So
Perfect,
I'm
perfect.
excited.
Fitting right in. And I can really imagine you as a school principal. I think a lot of people don't know that aside from being a PBA basketball legend, which I'd like to get into later a little bit, you're also an educator in the United States, also coaching a women's basketball team, if I'm not mistaken. And I know there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of decisions you have to make now that you'll be moving to the Philippines to run the FEU men's basketball team. So I want to get right into that because that's a big news this week. So I'm
Sure.
curious, how did all of this unfurl? How did all of this manifest and take place? Did you pray for this? Did you apply for this post? Was there someone who reached out to you? Draw me a timeline of how you became the FEU head coach.
So a lot of people know I was back in October helping out with Talking Text. I did some consulting with my best friend, Joe Loss. And I think what Coach Tim says is, one of my mentors is always says, it's kind of the art of hanging around when people get a chance to see you and they get intrigued about where you're there for, what's going on, and how can you help their programs. So to be honest, I've been approached by a few PBA teams for potential jobs and another UAAP team that offered me a position during the pandemic, but it didn't come through. Things happened and we didn't get to that place where we could actually get to a deal going. So I went back to the Philippines again during Thanksgiving break, and I was there at a UAP game. And I have to tell you, Anton Montanola, boss Anton, was absolutely genuine. He was straight from the heart. He was as mimic to me to Mr. Uitinsu from Alaska has been to me. Well, he came to me, saw me at a game. He asked me to come talk to him. He said, "Hey, I don't know what you're here for. I don't know what you're doing, but we're looking for somebody to work with our players and help develop our players. And I would love to give the opportunity to have you to work with them and work for the university in some type of capacity." So that's what we left in Thanksgiving break. And then I met with boss Mark, in December in California. He came to Sacramento. We had a meeting. So Mark Moline and I had a couple of meetings in December. We started talking. He said, "Hey, after having we had a dinner with myself, Johnny, Coach Denock, Richie Tixon was there, boss Anton and Mark Molina were there. We had a dinner, and I guess after meeting with me, Mark informed me that Denock was so impressed with my knowledge of Philippine basketball, my knowledge about the UAP, my history in the Philippines per se, and how much love I have for the country and how much the country has done for me, that Denog went to both Anton and Mark Molina and said he would love to work and learn from me, that he'll be willing to step aside for a while to kind of get to learn from me and that we can help lead the program together. So really, this whole transition happened because of Coach Denog.
Wow, kudos to him. It takes a big man to step aside like that and say, I am okay to step down so I can learn from you in the meantime.
Yeah, so Coach Deanock and I are going to be like the best of friends because it was a big move for him. To coming over the director of basketball operations and doing things like that, I was very intrigued by the opportunity. But when they presented the head coaching job, it kind of flipped on me 100%. I was actually wasn't even expecting it. So, so what Deanock would did was so huge because we know that doesn't happen not only in the UAP, but anywhere in the world, where you have a head coaching position at one of the top universities in the country, and you're willing to step aside in order to learn from somebody who you believe may have a bit knowledge that can help you get better. People rather fail than they ever give up the positions. So that's all that happened. And so Mark came and talked to me. So we started talking. We started working through numbers like in February, and we were close, not all together there. But I have to tell you, like, FEUs has been absolutely incredible trying to make sure they can accommodate everything that I'm going to have there and everything that I'm leaving behind. And then they've been able to allow me to have closure with my school, my programs, my club programs, my teams here in California, in a way where it didn't disrupt everybody else's lives here. So, I run a school here with about 800 kids, plus a staff of 45, 50 staff members. I'm a school leader. So when it had to be announced that I was going to be taking a position in the Philippines, it was going to shake people up. And we wanted to make sure we did that the right way and respect everybody. And I have to thank FEU because they let me do it the right way. They let me do it in a way that it didn't rock too many boats over here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And it also makes sense for you to want to make sure that everything is left in good terms, considering what you've given over the last few years in building it. So why don't you tell us about how the last few years have been like for you? How much coaching have you done? What does it take to run a school? How will that help you as you transition to FEU? And are you ready for the change in cultures going from the United States for over the last 2 decades, coming back and living more on a full-time basis in the Philippines, where we know that, the culture of college is different from the one in the United States?
Yeah, the culture of college is different, but I'm built for it because I know the country. I know the dynamics. I know the ins and outs. And I'm not coming over there naive by any means. I know they're dynamic, phenomenal, educated basketball minds in the UAP, Tab and Topex and everybody in that league. They're phenomenal at what they do. They live and dream the game of basketball. So my promise, though, to my players, I got a chance to meet the staff and the players about a week ago, is that even with that said, I'm called Mr. 100% for a reason. I will not allow anybody to outwork me. So I will give them everything I have to make sure we improve this program and take it to where it should be. We're going to honor the university. We're going to try to make young men into like really productive men, not only on the court, but off the court. So what running a school has done for me as my coaching career, attention to details, being prepared, looking at the small things, being due diligent and making sure you get your message across. So the uniqueness for me, I have a master's now in counseling. So I'm able to reach kids and players on so many different levels because everybody's different. And so that's been one of my strengths as a coach here in California, is that I'm able to find the strength of every player and pull that out of them and equally like treat them fairly, but treat them differently at the same time without anybody feeling there's special treatment or undue fairness. Ultimately, what I'm able to do, has been able to do with my true success as a coach, is making sure players, we play together as a basketball team, right? And I think the Alaska Aces did it the best, though, when I played. We played together as a team, but ultimately being able to play for one another, play for each other, to help each other be successful. That is the message I want to come with FEU. We're going to not only play together, but we're going to play for each other. And I know the dynamic that's going on with some of the big universities that are flooding their roster with players after players after players. I embrace that. I played for Alaska in the Philippines, right? So I embrace the fact that we are not going after everybody. We just want the right guys. We're going to put the right guys on the court, the best 5 kids in the court, and then we're going to put the best 15 kids on a roster. And at the end of the day, going with, again, the model of Alaska, doing things with integrity, we are going to outwork other teams. You can have good talent, but will we outwork you? And that's going to model we're going to live with. And I got all that honestly from my former principal that was my mentor here at the Fern Baking Middle School. She was the hardest working person I ever met, not only in education but also in basketball. So she is still my mentor today. She was one who kind of helped me put this all together, how to finalize the deal with FEU and take care of things here at Fern Bacon at my middle school and make sure everything works the right way. So, yeah.
You mentioned that your goal is to get the FEU program, the FEU basketball team, particularly, back to where you think it should be, right? And at the same time, you mentioned that you want to do that by building a culture where the FEU players under your tutelage play for each other, make plays for each other, take pride in each other's success. What are the
Absolutely.
exact ways you are planning to do that? Or, maybe some might ask, how exactly are you going to implement that in a world like college basketball, where sometimes players might not always be looking to do what's best for the team. Some might be looking to do what's best for themselves. And more importantly, do you have a particular timeline how quickly you want to get FEU to where you want to get it? Are you thinking maybe Final Four right away? Is that the kind of specific goals you have in mind?
So, I'm not being naive again to what I'm stepping into, but I'm also a realist too. I don't worry about setting the timetable of how successful we should be because I want to come in and be good right away. That's just my mindset. I want to come in and I want to win. I think we can. I don't think the team was that far off. A lot of their games within 10, 15 points against some of the best teams, and they beat Antonio twice last year. So I don't think we were far off. I watched probably, I kid you not, about 15, 20 games from preseason games to actual games from last year's UAP season, not only of FEU, but other teams that would make them successful. So I don't feel we were far off as far as wins and losses to get ourselves in the middle of the pack. Hear me out. I'm not Team Cone, okay? But I run a triangle system. I kind of put my own flair to it that works for me here in the States. And I'm very intrigued to see how it can work there because we're going to flow and we're going to let the offense work for us and not less work as individual in our offense. I think defensively, what I mean by playing for each other, when somebody gets broken down on defense, we're going to be there to help support them on the back end of it. So we're going to play tremendous help defense. And then we're going to try to have at least 20 assists a game. So that's playing for each other. We'll create shots on our own, but at the end of the day, when we can get better shots for other teammates, that's when you're going to be successful as a whole.
Quick rapid fire segment here.
Yep.
Using basketball terminologies, give me 3 words each to define the kind of offense you're going to want to run and the kind of defense you're going to want to run. 3 basketball terminologies for each side of the floor.
For me, our offense is going to be fluidity. It's going to flow, okay? And it's going to be a constant movement. Our offense is going to be constant movement. It's going to flow, and it's going to be very precise. So it's going to be our triangle is going to be bang, 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 bang. But it's going to, all the things that the guys are doing right now, like a lot of the pick and rolls, a lot of the high picks, a lot of the back screens, our offense is going to kind of flow with that. Those things are still going to be in it, but it's going to be a rhyme or reason why we do it. It's going to be boom, now these are your looks. So, and we're going to educate kids about what are the right shots, okay?
Right.
And I think some of the guys doing good things, and we are going to get out and run. But I'm not naive again. So if I feel like, okay, this is not working, I'm not one that's going to be stuck to my way, go, okay, we may need to simplify things.
Right. So just to recap quickly, movement, fluidity, and precision. Those are your 3 keywords for the
100%. Yep.
And on defense?
Defensively, we're going to play hard-nosed on-ball defense. We're going to play tremendous help. And ultimately, we want to be the best rebounding team in the league. So therefore, it's going to require for us to box out every time.
Right.
So on-ball pressure.
Help, rebound.
Help, rebound the ball.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned you watched at least like 15 to 20 games of FEU last season. So if you did that, I'm sure you've noticed that some of the key guys, not just in terms of scoring, but also creating for others, were guys like Patrick Sleet and Cyrus Torres, guys who, and also, of course, LJ Gonzalez, who graduated, finished these playing seasons. So I'm sure you're also aware that now Sleet and Torres are no longer with the team. Sleet has gone on to the NCAA, while Torres has gone on to the MPBL.
Yeah.
With that said, are you concerned about some of the talent FEU lost lately? And, how are you going to fill the talent in your roster? You're going to conduct tryouts to see, to find some unheralded gems out there. Are you looking to give more opportunities to the guys in the bench last season or those elevating from the Team B? Or are you planning to bring in some recruits?
Attention all Ateneo supporters and fashion enthusiasts. Get ready to elevate your game day style with Get Blued's latest masterpiece, the all-new hoodies. These aren't just any ordinary hoodies. They're the best Get Blued has ever come out with. Crafted with precision and passion, each hoodie is a testament to their commitment to quality and style. And guess what? They come in 3 stunning colors: cream, royal blue, and navy blue. But wait, there's more. The new hoodie features textured and embroidered patches on premium peak fabric, ensuring a luxurious and comfortable feel like no other. It's the perfect blend of style and comfort, making it an absolute must-have for the remainder of UAAP Season 86. But here's the best part. You can own this game day essential for only 2,500 pesos each. That's right, premium quality at a great price. But remember, true fans always buy original. Avoid imitations and support the Ateneo varsity teams in style by purchasing from Get Blued's official stores. With Get Blued, you're not just buying a hoodie, you're investing in the pride and tradition of the blue and white. Don't miss out on the opportunity to stand out in the crowd and show your unwavering support for the Ateneo varsity teams. Get your hands on the new hoodies today and let your Blue Eagle pride soar to new heights. Visit Get Blued's official stores to secure your hoodies now. Hurry! Quantities are limited.
First and foremost, one of the things the kid's going to know from me, I'm a loyalist at fault. So if you stay there at FEU, you put your heart and soul into the green and gold, I'm going to find a way to make you competitive and better. So that's the loyalty that I come with to a fault. I have to be honest, I was kind of hoping Patrick would stay because I liked some of the things he did, and I thought his size and his ability to create shots was going to work in my offensive flow.
Did you try to convince him to stay?
We had a conversation, but at the time he was already committed to moving on
Perpetual,
to the
yes.
NCAA. Yep, which I respect. But my goal is to make sure he regrets leaving.
I see, of course. Competitive
Yeah,
nature, yes.
yeah. We want to make sure you're like, oh man, I missed out. I could have stayed here. But I like what some of the guys what the guys are doing right now in some of the pre tune-up games. I'm getting all those games are being sent to me by Coach Dinock, and we have talent there. And I like our big foreign kid. He's super athletic. He's got great size.
What's his
He's
name?
got,
Which one?
I don't get me in trouble right now. I'm still learning everybody's names.
All right,
I,
okay.
I only
Respect.
met them all once on one Zoom, so I actually videotaped it. So before I get there, I can know everybody's name. I want to kind of shock them when I get there.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but it was a quick Zoom meeting. But I'm excited about what we do. But again, at the end of the day, as a coach, my job is to make my guys in my program better in order so they can compete at a high level against who we're playing against. So I will be loyal to those guys. I want to be loyal to FEU.
We've seen over the last few years how UAP and NCAA schools programs have started to do a lot more of what PBA teams have done for a while now, which was to find these Filipino foreign talents all over the world, looking for an opportunity to develop as basketball players, to show what they're capable of, and provide maybe Filipino fans some electrifying moments to watch along the way. And we see with teams like Ateneo, UP, LaSalle, even Adamson, National University to some degree, UE, Coach Jackson Chago. I know you guys are friends as well.
Yeah,
Coach Jackson Chago has done this a lot to bolster his UE team. UST, we've seen them do it too. Lately, they got the commitment of Zayn Mahmoud.
yeah,
FEU, to some degree, have kind of stayed with how teams used to recruit back in the day over the last few years, so just to elevate guys from their team, give opportunities to guys from the end of the bench last season, continue the developmental progress, which, believe me, I find admirable in many ways as well, because that's really how college programs used to be way back, even some pro teams, right? Like, my favorite team in the NBA is the Miami Heat. I love Coach Eric
yes,
Spoelstra. I love how every year, despite the guys who come in and out of that system, that culture, because they have that culture, they're
yes,
constantly competing, right? And to some degree,
absolutely.
FEU has done that. It's just the last few years, I feel like because other teams have powered up with more recruits, the talent level, then you add the IQ and the coaching, FEU kind of got left behind in the standings. And we saw that because after making the Final Four consecutively, they've dropped out lately. So all of that because one thing I heard also as I was messaging you, and also I want to be so thankful to you for replying to me during this coaching process as I was hammering you with messages asking coach what's happening. So I appreciate your responses. But what I was also told by a source of mine was that you might look to bring in some of the Phil foreign players you've gotten to meet and coach over your years in the United States. So is that true? Are you maybe planning to bring in some recruits?
We're not opposed to it. I'm going to be working with Mark and Richie Tixon and Johnny Abarentos and Dinock as we continue to build our roster, make it stronger. But I'm all for the homegrown kids, man. I'm all for the kids that want to be there that truly appreciate their opportunity to play at FEU and what is giving them, especially kids from the provinces, kids that grow up in the Philippines that really their dream is to play in the UAP their whole lives. Those are the kind of kids I want to rock with. Now, if there's a kid or two that's a Phil-Am kid that can come and support us and they can understand that message, like I want to say this the right way, make sure it's not taken, out of context. But the NIL deals in the states and guys getting paid for play right now. It's I'm not saying it's out of hand, but it's like some guys are getting almost salaries of a PBA player right now at the UAP. If I understand, I want a kid
No,
that
it's
wants to.
true. It's true. Yeah.
That's amazing to me, right? So if you play the game the right way, you do what you're supposed to do, you work hard in your game, that will all come eventually. So I want kids that want to play for the love of the game, love of their university, and again, hard work would outwork talent any day. We'll win. So, but if there's a guy or two from a field foreign that can really support us and help us and understand we are here for the university. We're here playing for FEU University and for everybody that supports us. You got to have that to your core. I don't want guys coming over to get a paycheck per se.
What's your coaching staff going to look like? Because that's going to come in big in developing.
I'm going to respect everybody that's there right now and all the work they're doing.
Okay.
And then we feel like after the season, we guys want to ride this out. But every guy that's on that staff that's putting in the hard work right now, that's been there before I got there, I'm a loyalist at fault. Like I will work and make those guys my brothers next to my brothers. So just
Right.
like if you ask any of my former teammates, I don't care who it is, from Boy Cabal, who I saw, and Bong Alvarez, up to Johnny and Bong Hawkins and Jojo Lastimoso and Puchuino and Jeff Cariaso and Dickie Backman. Like those guys are my brothers. Like I'm that kind of guy. If you're my teammate on the court or you're my teammate as a coaching staff, I will fight for you, and I want you to be as close to me as anybody, like a true family member. And those
So you're
guys are
gonna
doing great work right now.
So you're going to retain most of the coaches in the coaching staff, and Coach Dinock is going to oversee the program. But will you
Yep.
potentially add maybe one or two guys to the staff that you know? That's my first question. My second question: we're now seeing UAP and NCAA teams to some degree really work on their staff too. They have an analytics team, they have a video review team, they have student managers doing advanced data research. I wrote an article about this I wrote an article about how Ateneo does this last UAP season. So are you
Right.
planning to add that maybe a guy just to break down film specifically, really get into the science of basketball and helping build your team? What are your thoughts on all of that? And also back to that other question about, are you maybe gonna add one or two guys to your staff that someone someone you're close to?
Well, I had a conversation with Jojo Lastimosa this morning.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. How did that go?
I was like, hey, well, he said, whatever you need, I'm going to always help you out and support you. Those are my
Okay,
guys. Then I'm going to meet Jeffrey Cardi also when I first get there as well. So,
bringing the
so
band back. Okay, I like
yeah,
that.
bring the band
Hey,
back.
I didn't ask if
Johnny's
I
already
dismissed
there.
UAP.
The last thing I got to do is get Ball Hawkins. So then we're back to the
Hey,
starting five.
someone asked if John Arrigo is available as well.
John Arrigo. I haven't heard from him in a while. John Arrigo's a good guy, but he was not part of my true core of
I
guys.
see. Yeah, yeah.
Like my true core guys are over here in my wall over here in my office. But again, if there's a Phil Lamb kid that's gonna come over, a Phil Canadian kid or whatever, he's got to be a kid that really is going to understand the culture and climate of the Philippines and appreciate it the way that I do. And you got to be true to your heart and understand like basketball is a way of life for the Filipino people. It's not just to come over here and take advantage of an opportunity to collect a paycheck per se. I want you to be there because you want to get an education. You want to be there for the love of the university. And you really have to understand like there's so many people that are impacted by the men's basketball program in the UAAP. They are the flagship of each university in
Right.
the country.
Okay, I gotta ask. What are the chances the FEU fans are gonna get to see maybe Tim Cohn in the FEU sideline watching a game or two, maybe giving you some friendly advice from his years of
But
coaching
let me tell
experience?
you, if Tim Cohn doesn't come to at least 4 or 5 of my games, we're gonna have a problem.
Okay, okay, all right. I
I
need to send that
guarantee,
part to Coach Tim,
I
yeah.
guarantee you, Tim Cohn will be in my games. Yes,
Oh, will he be maybe sitting with you behind your bench by any chance, or will he be in the stands?
absolutely not. He'll have so much going on with the Gilas team right now. I'm
Right,
so
of
happy
course.
for him with that. I texted him last week. We've been texting back and forth in full support of the opportunity that I'm going to have at the university level. But I have picked his brains about part of the Triangle office and how successful we think it could be at that level, at the university level. He says, just go with your instincts. He said, that's what made you a great player. That's why you're Sean Chambers is like, you've always been an instinctive person and you can always go what you feel.
I have to ask. We haven't heard much about your former owner, Fred Tangsu, since the Alaska Aces departed from the PBA, which to some degree is kind of sad. I have to admit, for as long as I've been alive, Alaska has been part of the PBA lore. And as happy as I am that the brand like Converge is now in the league, of course, I wish that
Yeah,
Alaska was still there too, because of the history and the tradition and the championships and all the great players. And really, it's a culture in of itself, right? Like, I mean, if I think Miami in the NBA, I think Alaska in the PBA to some degree, right? So I have to ask, what are the chances you may, considering some FEU people have also been curious about this? I've also been curious about this as a UAAP, observer and fan, and also part of the media. What are the chances that maybe you can get your old boss, Mr. Ortengsu, to probably support the FEU program?
interesting. So I will tell you this. This didn't happen without Mr. Fred Uitensu.
Really, this you becoming the FEU head coach?
Absolutely.
How so?
So when I was going through the negotiation piece of it, I talked to Fred, like, well, not talk, we text on a regular. And a couple of opportunities that came my way, I've always asked for his blessings on a couple of opportunities that came my way, which he's very protective of me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, it makes me a little emotional. Like, he's very protective of me and everything that I built here as a career after basketball. I love Fred, Mr. Uitensil, like no other, for real. I really do. And I'm a little emotional about it. But he said, I will definitely sign off on working with the Montanola family. I know them.
Wow.
They're good people. I want them to take care of you. I want them to make sure they put you in a place to be successful. I want them to make sure that they understand what you're giving up at home and make sure their expectations is fair in what they're going to be asking of me. So
Right.
then Fred actually had a conversation with the Montanola family about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Okay.
And then he followed back with me. He said, I'm not going to do negotiation with you, but I do want you to know that I had a conversation and he felt very assured that I was going to be taken care of, put in a great place. And so, yes, I think you can move forward with this opportunity.
Wow. So
Yeah.
would he move forward with you then?
So one more time.
Would he move forward with you? Meaning, would he possibly be a constant presence as well, supporting the
What
FEU
I
program?
will reach out to Fred like all the time. Like I reach out to Fred, like if you follow my social media, we see each other at least for sure once a year, sometimes twice a year. I go to a USC football game with my family every year. We go spend the day with Fred, and so
Wow.
we've been doing that for the last maybe 10, 12 years now. And even before we got rid of Alaska, before Alaska got moved over to Converge, Mr. Uwe Tintu is why I'm in a situation where I'm at today, is because he would bring me over to consult with the team to keep me close and keep me connected to Philippine basketball culture.
Basketball.
But that was Mr. Uitensu, He kept me in the country and make sure my legacy continued on every year, whether it was with Luigi or if it was with Alex Compton and when Jeffrey took over and even with Coach Tim, like I came over every year to consult with those coaches for about a week or two.
That's incredible, and I
Yeah.
understand
So
the deep
again,
connection you have with him.
without Fred, this wouldn't have happened because he certainly blessed off on it. He was like, gave me some things to kind of work through the contract, and he really said, "Okay, you're good. Let's do this."
Amazing.
Amazing.
Mr. Oi Teng Su in the UAP with FEU. That is a very
So that's
exciting
next. I'll,
thought.
I'll warm him up to that next. I'll warm him up. He told me he's going to be in the country in June, so we're going to meet in June in the Philippines.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
I'll butter him up a little bit. Say, hey, by the way, what can you do for us? So
Coach, you're exciting a bunch of FEU fans right now listening to this. I'm certain of it. And
yeah,
again, thank you for
yeah,
joining me on this podcast. It has been incredible to have you. I started watching Alaska games in 2000, 2001. Unfortunately, years after you guys won the Grand Slam.
yeah.
Wish I got to watch you guys constantly while you were all in your prime. Those 90s years, I'm sure, were something, pre the days of the internet really hitting off and social media
Right,
too. Really,
right.
I gotta ask you if there's one game I would want you to pick on to remember to remind yourself of right now. Which one game would you say was the most memorable Alaska game ever for you
Um,
personally?
for me personally. I would probably say game one of the Grand Slam when we beat Ginebra. I mean, game one and two were phenomenal. I don't know. Let me back up. I would probably say one of the most memorable games that we've ever played was back in 1995 when we beat San Miguel in a 7-game series. And
Wow.
I'm probably going to say game six, we were losing, I think, almost by 20 points going into halftime. We were missing Ball Hawkins due to an injury. And I witnessed probably something next to a Michael Jordan performance in Johnny Abarentos, who came out the second half. And I don't think he missed one shot. And we came back and beat San Miguel in that game and went on to win the 1995 Governor's Cup in a 7-game series. But I literally got a chance to watch greatness in Johnny Abarentos in the game six go for something like 11-11 or 12 for 12 in the second half of a game. And then Jojo Lastimoso became the legendary Mr. Fourth Quarter and sealed the deal in the fourth quarter in a game that we should not have won, where we were already down by almost 20 points at halftime. And I just complimented them in my role as they carried us in that game six. So that was incredible. The game six against San Miguel in 1995.
Incredible. I'm sure you have so many incredible
Go find
stories
that
from back in
game.
the day. I will.
Go find that game. And I
J-
actually have that on tape now. Video. I got it on a disc now. But
yeah,
Johnny Abarentos in Game Six against San Miguel was could have been played
phenomenal.
in NBA.
I need to.
So
I need to
people
watch
ask me
that.
all the time in my office. They ask me, "What is this?"
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes. So it stays on my desk, and people go, "Why do you have a milk can on your desk?" I go, "This is truly where my heart is always at for everything
Wow.
that Alaska done for me."
Do you still drink Alaska milk?
I do not drink Alaska milk here in the States, but
You'll be
that's the
drinking it back home. Here.
of course,
Of
yes.
course, yeah. What's your
It
favorite? Is the chocolate your favorite or you like the white one?
was the chocolate, of course.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible. I'm sure you're just so excited to come back and get
Oh,
into
so many
basketball
things that
culture.
have. There's so many plans. There's so many win situations, and yeah, this is a lot of win across the board. There's nothing negative about this move, other than I know there's certain things that I got to be prepared for, like this social media.
Mm. Times have changed in that regard.
Times have changed. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has a mouthpiece. Everybody has a phone. So I'm willing to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like when we're not playing well, when we're playing ugly, I don't mind hearing about it, but I also got to make sure that I'm not consumed by it. I'm also being a principal is preparing me for things like that because there's some moments here on the school site that are not always good, and you have to make some tough decisions that don't everybody like. I also know you cannot get caught up with all the wins and losses with the wins and get too high and take all the good comments because there's an opposite side of that, right?
Are you gonna have non-negotiable rules like, no oversupply of sugar? You only have a certain diet that you have to follow to get in the best shape possible, curfew, stuff like that. Do you have any rules you're gonna implement to your team?
Yeah, no, these are kids. You know what I mean?
I mean,
These
yeah,
are college
that's a
kids.
challenge, right?
These are college kids. I think I lived off of Burger King when I was in college. So uh, what I which is also I think is unique. Like my university colors are green and gold, Cal Poly. So I thought that was kind of a unique correlation, you know. So I like that. But I don't know. We have a strength and conditioning coach. I'll let them manage that, you know. But I will manage like things like we want to be respect the game. You got to be in early bed. You got to have good rest before game days. 2 days before game days, you got to be like your body's got to be rested and ready to go. So we'll have things like that, you know. But their meal plans and diet, I'll let my strength and conditioning coach take care of that.
And that's gonna be the coach from the last few seasons too.
Yeah, our guy that's there now, he's been. I had a, like again, I got a chance to meet the staff and everybody. And my video coordinator guy has been phenomenal. So I've been getting videos like once every other day.
And what have
So
you been studying so far, particularly?
so again, there's some things that it shows me that my concept and my offensive flow would work there. I saw them play against Magnolia yesterday. I saw them play against I think it was Morocco maybe. And we played a couple teams from out of town. Some good scrimmages. So it's just some attention to details. We can simplify some things, and we can also be more. I guess our precision can be better. But I do think the coaching staff is doing a great job because the guys play hard. They really do play hard basketball.
Are you gonna have? I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with how in the Philippine basketball scene, some teams have 4 or 5 hour practices. Some have modernized, maybe lessening it to two to negate the long-term impact on the bodies of these players to allow them to get more rest as well, to be more fresh, to be prepared for the actual game days.
Yep.
So, are you decided yet on what your philosophy and that is going to be? Are you
My
gonna have like,
philosophy
yeah,
sometimes is less is more, but we
okay,
also got to get work done. So being an educator, read a book called Good to Great,
okay.
and sometimes less is more. Like let's get very detailed in the things we're going to be good at, and let's simplify that, but let's not overwork it, right? As the guys play, I want their minds to be simplified. I want them to play freely with simple mind processing. I don't want their minds spinning so much. So, and we've done a great job with that with our programs here in California. So, yeah, I don't know what our schedule is right now, practice schedule. So I want to get over there. I want to see what they've been doing, and I want to see if I need to tweak it or not. But as of right now, I'm going to come in there and kind of lean on them and see what they're doing already. And then from there, I'll start tweaking and putting my system in, if that makes
As an,
sense.
as an educator, how strict are you going to be with your players maintaining a certain grade point average?
I would work with Mark Molina and find out what is the expectation of the university. But at the end of the day, the degree and the education is most important. So after their basketball career, like myself, you can go into other fields and get into academia or something, reinvent yourself after basketball. Basketball is a great tool and great avenue. It can be a great livelihood, but at the end of the day, we all retire from it at an early age,
Right.
right? So we all retire before 40. So you got to figure out what's next after that.
Are you concerned about how the sudden influx of money and how that plays a role in recruitment and team building and the marketing and even the sports betting in some areas of the Philippines? There's so many areas now where it feels like money is involved and money is a factor. And it perhaps maybe it's always been there and it's just magnified now because we have social media to bring a spotlight to these. I don't want to call them issues, but trends, right? Because for some players that money can change their life, that could
Sure,
change their family's fortunes, that could
sure.
change their future for generations in a snap. What's your take, where's your stand, or you know just to simply put it, how do you feel about the sudden influx of financial figures in college
So
basketball?
So it's one of those things again that I need to learn. I'm not sure to what impact it has on the UAAP in the Philippines. So I don't really know to what impact it's having on players. I don't know how it's making families and parents make decisions. But I know what integrity looks like. I know what loyalty looks like, and I know what people doing things the right way, what excellence looks like. So, and I think that translates no matter whether you're here in the States or you're in the Philippines. So guys that are doing the right way, guys are like myself, like my contract had to be sufficient, but not over the top for me that it hurts the university. So, but I was right, if that makes sense, right? I can come here like I need a big salary if you want me, and you got to do this and this and that, or it hurts the university on other aspects of building the team. So I had to be reasonable, and I would expect my players and guys that are coming over, be reasonable, get taken care of if you can, but let's be reasonable, but let's do it for the love of the game. If you do it for the love of the game, the love of the university, and the love for your family, you will be rewarded in the end, and you will feel a certain pride in your achievement.
Fantastic. All right, before we close this, what's your
Yep.
final message for the FEU community, coach?
I think Mark Molina put it best in the statement, or Mr. Montanola was like, we're asking all of the FEU family to get behind us, support us in this move, in this transition. There's no doubt the people in the Philippines understand my love and my heart for the country and all that it has done for me, that I am going to come over there and again, give it 110%. But It may not look great early, but we'll get there.
Incredible. Thank you so much for your time, Coach Sean Chambers. Congratulations on becoming the
Marami
next head
salamat
coach
po.
of the
All
FEU
right.
Tamaraws. We cannot wait to have you in the country. Best of
Yeah.
luck and see you here soon, Coach.
All right. Thank you.